Okay, so we will start. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Namaste once again to all of you. Before we start today's session, just a couple of protocol points I just wanted to emphasize. One is that I request all of you to go to your chat box and mark your attendance, your presence in the class, so that I will know that who are well present in the class rather. That's one request. Second thing is, during the session, when the teaching is going on, when my talk is going on, we will mute all the participants. I will mute all the participants. By any chance, anybody unmutes himself or herself, please mute yourself again. The reason being that sometimes some background noise and all will come, and it will not only be disturbing to me and but also a disturbance to the other participants. So this is a humble request I want to make, that you please mute you. Make sure that you stay muted. At the end of the session, after we say the prayers, closing prayers, then we can unmute ourselves, and any questions that you have got, you can ask me, and whatever I know, I can share it with you. And when we are talking about prayers, in fact, I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to send these prayers, the opening prayers and the closing prayers, to all of you, which I will do it in the next 1 or 2 days, or even tomorrow itself. So that from the next class onwards, you can also chant the prayers, of course being muted, but you can chant the prayers as I am chanting, along with me. You can see and chant the prayers. After some time you will be able to memorize these prayers also. Okay, so these are the few points I just wanted to request you and make at the beginning of today's session. I won't be repeating these points every time, but sometimes I will remind you. Most important thing is, I would like to know who all are there in the class, because if some student is absent for some reason, then if he has missed the class, then I would like to, he or she has missed the class, then I would like to make sure that they have not missed anything. And if there's anything I can do for catching up, I will be very glad to do that. So with that, we will now go into the topic. So last, in the inaugural class, we saw certain important aspects of Vedanta, and also a very brief introduction I gave you all for this Tattva Bodha text. What is it about, right? And when I talk of Vedanta, what it means is that it is the end part of Vedas, and that represents the Upanishads. We will see a little later, how our scriptures, our Shastra is all designed. And in the end part of Vedas, you can call it the climax of Vedas. Because in all drama, cinema, and all, climax comes when in the last 15-20 minutes, right? That's the climax scene. When the heroine is kidnapped and the hero goes and saves her and all that, oh, whatever it is. Different climaxes for different films. So here, the climax of the entire Veda is the last portion, Vedanta. And that is the real interesting stuff in the entire Vedanta from a Vedantin's point of view. So that is why it is called Veda Anta. Vedanta means Veda Anta, the end portion of Vedas, which are consisting of Upanishads only rather. We know that there are four Vedas. All the four Vedas end portion is Upanishads only. So when we talk of Vedanta, you must bear in mind that we are referring to the Upanishads. And if you take Bhagavad Gita and all, that is also based on Upanishads only, about which we will see later. So when we talk of Vedanta, there is one important element we have to notice, which I touched upon in the last class, in the inaugural class, which is Vedanta actually analyzes three entities in this entire cosmos. And when you look at it in these three entities, the entire cosmos is covered. Which are those entities? Jiva, the individual, right? You, me, and all. Or any living being, Jiva. Then Jagat. Jagat means the entire cosmos, entire universe. And Ishvara. Ishvara means the Supreme Lord, Paramatma you can call, Bhagavan you can call, anything you can call. That is Ishvara. So if you look at this entire experience, our experience is only divided into these three. Either the experience of the self, experience of the world, or experience of God. So Vedanta, it analyzes threadbare the nature of these three entities, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. And not only it analyzes these three entities, the nature of these three entities, it also establishes or analyzes the relationship between these three entities. Jiva, what is the relationship between Jiva and the Jagat? That is the individual and the world. What is the relationship between the Jagat and Ishvara, the world and the Lord, Paramatma, Parameshwara? And what is the relationship, and most importantly, relationship between the Jiva and Ishvara, the Parameshwara? This three dimensional relationship analysis, the Upanishads do rather. And that is the subject matter of Vedanta. And based on that analysis, the Vedanta comes to certain conclusions and presents those conclusions for our consumption, our use. If we like those, we take it and then we become spiritual seekers. If we don't like them or we can't relate to those conclusions, we continue with our life, daily morning getting up and eating, sleeping, doing all sorts of entertaining ourselves and all that. We continue the life like that. But Vedanta also says that in the analysis it presents both. If you take to spiritual pursuit, what will happen? And if you take to this normal, non-spiritual, the laukika pursuit, worldly pursuit, what will be the consequence of that? This very beautifully the whole Vedanta presents. Now, this is a very profound knowledge, profound analysis and knowledge which Vedanta presents. And in order for us to actually get this knowledge or at least attempt to gain this knowledge, we need to have certain preparations, emotional, mental preparation, all are required. The intellectual preparations are required. And that preparation, what are all are required, that is what is the subject matter of Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha starts with that. What are the qualifications required for a person to pursue, to take up this Vedantic pursuit or the spiritual pursuit? What are the important qualifications? And then it goes on very briefly explaining the entire Vedanta in a capsule form. We will see all that later as we go to the text. But before we enter into the Tattva Bodha text, it is very important for all of us to understand some background information about our Sanatana Dharma, that is our Hinduism. Because the entire teaching, this is unique to our culture only, our religion only. Rather. This is you cannot find in any other religion. And unfortunately, what has happened is, because of so many reasons, we have lost touch with this knowledge which is there in our Sanatana Dharma. What is Sanatana Dharma? What is Hinduism? That itself many people don't know. Many people is, everybody thinks that going to temple, it is Hinduism, right? Because other people go to churches or mosques like that. I go to temple, so I am a Hindu. Some people think that performing all this puja and things like that and all is Hinduism. You don't need to go to temple, you can do it at home itself. That is Hinduism. So there are so many aspects involved in Hinduism, but from a Vedanta point of view, there are a few aspects which we should have a good understanding of, right? And these aspects, of course, when I conducted the Vedanta basics teaching a few weeks ago, the students who were part of that Vedanta basics have been exposed to these aspects rather. But that was a more elaborate. I covered lot more aspects generally, because there the focus was to cover the whole infrastructure of Varnashrama Dharma. But here I am going to focus only on Vedanta perspective, what we need to know before we start understanding Tattva Bodha. And I have chosen three topics for that, which I will be discussing in the next couple of sessions, today and the next couple of sessions, before we go into the proper text. The first topic is Purusharthas. We need to have a very good understanding of what Purusharthas are referred to in the Vedas. And mind you, all these topics are all there in the Vedas. This is all in the Purva Bhaga of Vedas. These are discussed, and then it is followed up in the Uttara Bhaga, that is the Vedanta also. Purushartha basically means human goals, and we will discuss more about what type of human goals the Vedas are talking about. The second important aspect which we need to understand, which to a large extent does not exist in today's context, but which is the backbone of our entire Hinduism, our entire Sanatana Dharma, is this Varnashrama Dharma. Unfortunately, over a period, this Varnashrama Dharma has become for some people, a prohibited word, rather, right? But that is because of the mischief done by the humans, who are who anything you give them, the first thing the human brain will think, most of them, not all, most of them, is how to misuse it. And for our people here in India, it is a very common thing, how to misuse things. Like that, what was a beautiful structure in the Vedic period has been misused, and it has become into disrepute today. But we must understand what that Varnashrama Dharma is about. So I will touch upon that particular topic also. And the third important topic is, when we are coming to the end of the Vedanta, the end of the Vedas, which is Vedanta, we must also have a brief idea of what has preceded that. What is the scheme of our Shastras? Because the word Shastra, we keep repeating. Shastra says this, Shastra says that, and all that. But what do you mean by that word Shastras? a brief understanding of all these things we will have to see. So these three topics I will cover in the next two, 1 or 2 sessions, and then we will go into the Tattva Bodha text, so that when we enter the text, certain things will be very clear to you what it is talking about. Okay. So the first topic which is relevant is Purushartha, as I said, and Purushartha means human goals. The word Purushartha has two words, Purusha, Artha. And Purusha means, normally interpretation, Purusha means a man. But we must not, this is not only meant for men, this is meant for women also. So Purusha means we can take it as Manushya. So Artha means, Artha, the word in Sanskrit has got many meanings rather, right? But here in this context, we take the meaning of goal, that is objective. So Purushartha means human goal. That is what is Purushartha, right? And what our Shastras say is that to be born as a human being in this entire cosmos is a very rare occurrence. We don't realize that at all. You just imagine how many species are there, out of which you human beings, it's a very rare phenomenon. Adi Shankara in Viveka Chudamani, right at the beginning, he beautifully describes this. He actually talks about three things which are very rare in this entire world. Rather, there's a beautiful shloka is there in the Viveka Chudamani. He says, "Durlabam trayamevaitat devanugraha hetukam manusyatvam mumukshutvam then mahapurusha samshraya." That's what he says. He says durlabham. Durlabham means very rare, very difficult to achieve. Trayame, trayameva etad. There are three things which are very difficult to achieve in this life. What are they? They are, number one, manushyatvam, being born as a human being. And then second one is mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam means liberation, freedom, inner freedom, a desire to become free from all these worldly bondages. That is the second, second rare thing rather. Not everybody will have this desire. That is why when I advertised in the Facebook with so many friends, only 20 people have turned up for Vedanta class. And actually, this 20, according to me, is a big number. That shows that there are this is increasing. I mean, this mumukshutvam, even let it be for the sake of curiosity to know what it is, because that is how many people come into Vedanta. They are curious, and then once they come to know what it is, and they appreciate what is being presented, then they become permanent customers of Vedanta, or I should not say customers, permanent students of Vedanta. It's such a beautiful knowledge. So this is the second one, mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam means an intense desire to be free from all these bondages, all this grief which we are experiencing in our life, to gain that inner freedom rather. And the third one is Mahapurusha Samshraya, means association with Mahatmas, association with good, well-meaning gurus rather, well-meaning guides in our life. You won't get that easily. It's a very rare thing. And all these things, Adi Shankara says, you get only because of one factor, Deva Nugraha Hetukam. You must have the grace of the Lord, the blessings of the God. If you have got those blessings, then you will get all these three. And that is why just being born as a human being itself is a rare occurrence. Rarer than that is a person who wants to actually get freed from the bondage of the samsara. He is looking for liberation from all these, you know, Mishra life. Mishra life means happiness, sorrow coming one after the other, all the dukkhas that we face. And even if these two are there, to get a guru to teach you, to lead you through the spiritual path is still the rarest one. So, this is how we need to understand, and we need to understand the glory of our birth, the glory of our intellect. We need to understand rather and appreciate it rather. And in fact, thank God because for showering all his blessings on us, so that we have now entered this spiritual path and trying to learn what the first text is Tattva Bodha, right? And why Shankaracharya is saying this human birth is very rare? Because if you look at it, in the human birth alone, there is one extra faculty God has given, and that is a free will. A human being has got the free will to do or not to do anything that he desires or does not desire, isn't it? The animals do not have this free will at all. This intellect, this buddhi to think is given only to human beings. Animals are all pre programmed, they are all hard coded. They can't think. They are driven by their instincts rather. So that is why if an animal is standing in a hot sun, instinctively it may go for a shade of a tree or a building or something, so that it feels a little more comfortable. Whereas a human being, if he is standing in the hot sun, he can think what all things that he can do in order to escape from that heat, including wearing this glares and a hat, an umbrella, or even going to a place which is air conditioned. You can take that decision. That is all because of the free will that we enjoy. So we must understand that this free will is the driving force why these human beings are considered to be a very rare, and nobody has got this. No other living being. In fact, the Shastras say that there are 84 lakh species in this entire universe. Mind you, 84 lakh species, not living beings. The coronavirus may be one of them, rather. I don't know. Okay. Out of that 84 lakh species, human species is one. So you can imagine the probability of being born as a human being. Because a human being, any Jivatma, can be born as any living being. Today we are having the human birth. It does not mean that when we are reborn, we will be born as human beings again. We can even be born as a worm. We can be born as a tree. We can be born as a tiger. All these possibilities are there. That's a very big chapter in Vedanta, the law of karma. We will deal with all these things later. So this is the beauty, or this is the glory of human birth, which we should all appreciate, and we must all thank God for that. Right? And because of this free will, we can set goals in our life, isn't it? We can say this is what I want to achieve and this is how I am going to go about achieving that. We can do that. The animals and plants and all can all do that kind of a thing. And these human goals, the Vedas talk about these human goals in a very structured manner. If you understand those human goals the way the Shastras talk about, everything that every conceivable goal that a human being can be captured within the structure which the Shastras present. Right. So, what are these human goals? What the Shastras start approaching is looking at the human being and looking at the animals. Shastra says that there are many common elements between the human being and the animals. Again, that is presented in a very beautiful sloka. Ahara didra bhayam maitunancha samanyametat pashubhir naranam. Then buddhirhi tesham adhiko vishesha buddhya vihina pashubhir samana. So what this shloka says is that there are four common features between human beings and animals. One is ahara, food we eat. Nidra, nidra is sleep or even taking rest after a lot of work. Animals also take rest, we also take rest rather. Then bhayam, fear. Animals also have got fear, we have also got fear. Then maitunan means the procreation, the activity involved in procreation of one's own species. Animals also do, human beings also do. So these are the four common things between animals and the human beings. What is the difference then? Buddhirhi tesham. As I told you, it is this intellect, which is thinking capacity, the judging faculty which we have, the reasoning faculty. In fact, projecting the future, we can project our future. This is what in future I want to be. You go to interviews and all, they ask, they used to, when I was there in corporate world, how do you see yourself 5 years from now? It's a standard question they will ask in management interviews. Right? So projecting the future, that is there, that faculty is there for us, so that we can work for the betterment. Today I am this thing, I can have a plan, I can have a goal, I can work for a betterment of my life rather. And all these things come under the faculty of buddhi, and that's why buddhirhi tesham adhiko vishesha. That is the extra faculty, that is the special faculty which the human beings have. And if the human beings do not use that faculty, then they are equivalent to animals only. That is what the shloka says. So it is not enough that we have a buddhi. We must use that buddhi also productively, positively, and in a purposeful manner. So that is what is important, and that is why the human beings, there are so many ways the human, birth is glorified in our shastras, right? So it is because of this buddhi we have got these four goals. And the Shastra defines these goals into, or rather divides into four: Artha, Kama, Dharma, and Moksha. Many of you will be familiar with these words, but what we need to understand is they encompass, what do they represent, right? Artha Purushartha is the first Purushartha, Artha goal, right? And as I told you earlier, Artha has got many meanings, but here we are actually looking at a meaning as a goal, which is a part of Purushartha. But there is one more Artha in the beginning. That Artha represents security. The meaning of that Artha is security. So security, the Shastra says, is the first human goal. And anything that we procure, we do for the sake of our security, all come under artha, right from our birth, right? A small child cuddling toward, with a mother. Why? Insecure, looking for security. It's when you put it down on the floor or in the bed, cries, cries, cries. The moment you pick up, quietens. Why? Got the security. And I have not been left alone in this world. So this insecurity is totally instinctive for us right from birth. And because of this instinctive insecurity, we can have, we actually continue to search for security to overcome this insecurity. And that is one of the goals, the primary goals of a human life. So this is what the Shastra presents, right? And to begin with, this consists of food, clothing, and shelter. That is the basic. In fact, those of you who are actually management students, they would have studied the Maslow's model. The Maslow's model basically is what, nothing but this Purusharthas only divided into 7 stages instead of 4. That's all. He also starts the base with the food, shelter, and the basic security needs, rather. And the top is the self-actualization or self-realization goals, rather. So Maslow talks, and he has probably, because this knowledge is universal. Veda knowledge is universal, so anybody can talk about this, rather. They have got their own way of presentation. So this, we have to understand this insecurity, because we experience, or it is instinctively there. So the first goal is we try to secure ourselves, security in terms of food, clothing, and shelter, as I told you. This is the first layer. Then the second layer of security which is there is the security for the future. For example, what will provide us security in the old age? All of us do, isn't it? As and when we are working, we are looking about a pension scheme, about buying some property in one senior citizens home, where your headaches are reduced a lot, and then the management takes care of a lot of things, rather, including cooking food. You don't need to cook. They've got a very wonderful dining facility where you can pay and have your food, good food. So all these things, rather, comes under the second layer, which is planning for the future, rather. Earlier, people used to have a lot of children, thinking that children will be the security for future, but it is no longer valid now. In fact, children are worried about their own securities. And so we people, senior citizens, have to worry for our own securities. That's okay. I mean, it's not a big problem. Similarly, future health, taking insurance policies, this policy, that policy, all these things comes under the second level of security, rather. Second layer, rather. And the third layer is interesting. To secure all these securities which we have secured, we require additional security. Isn't it? First, because of our insecurity, we secure a shelter, which is a house. Then, in order to secure the house from some damage and all that, we secure the house by a insurance policy, which is the additional security. Then we start living in that house, and we find that there is a possibility of some theft and burglars coming and all that. So you go for one more level of security. You install all these security cameras and burglar alarm and things like that and all. As if that is not enough, you have a security guard securing your security and the security of your house. So when you start thinking of these layers of security, it goes on and on and on. So this is the first human goal, which is this security, right? Artha. And we spend our whole life in this itself. Most of us, rather, right? We spend the whole life in looking for the security only, rather. And what is the underlying purpose? Abhaya prapti, freedom from fear. But do we get that freedom? What amount of security we do, we don't get free from that fear at all, rather, isn't it? It continues, rather. So this is the first Artha Purushartha. The next one is Kama Purushartha. Kama Purushartha means desires. Kama means desires, rather. Well, once the basic needs, the security aspects have been fairly taken care of, then the man starts thinking, what next? Then certain desires come. Earlier, you had a security problem, you bought one house. Now you are secure. But now you have a desire to go for a bigger house, because the bigger house is not going to make you more secure. In fact, it may probably make you more insecure. But still, the desire has come now. I want to buy a bungalow. So, this is the Kama Purushartha. And if you look at many of our activities, once we have crossed that basic threshold of Artha Purushartha, automatically we come to Kama Purushartha. We have got one TV, entertainment. We want a music, what they call home theater system. Kama Purushartha. What is that home theater system going to do? It is just going to enhance the pleasure of viewing the same program which we were, viewing earlier in the TV. So all these things which are not contributing anything additional to your security, but which are contributing to the fulfillment of your desires, all of them come under Kama Purushartha. Right? In fact, for some people, this Artha Purushartha itself takes their whole lifetime. And they have no time or no means to think of Kama Purushartha. Many lives are like that. But probably, I think, for us, it is not like that. We have been thinking of a lot of Kama Purusharthas throughout our life. So, Kama basically means desire. Desire for a better living, desire for better stuff. A person has got one car, he wants two cars. He has got a Honda, he wants to go for Mercedes Benz. All these things are all coming under Kama Purushartha only, rather. Right. So these are the desires which make the life more comfortable and more enjoyable. This is Kama Purushartha. The third one is Dharma Purushartha. What is this Dharma Purushartha? Dharma basically is defined in our Shastra as a wealth which is invisible. What do I mean by that? Because this dharma, people say you do dharma, if you are doing dharmic activities, you will get punya, isn't it? So that, but punya can you see? You cannot see punya, you cannot touch punya, you cannot smell punya. But Shastras say if you do these kind of activities, you will get lot of punya. And one of the main reasons for a human birth is a very good amount of punya in your karma account. Unless you have got that good amount of punya, you would not have got this human birth. And since you have got the human birth, here is an opportunity for you to further enhance that punya balance by doing dharmic activities. So dharma as a human goal also is prescribed or recognized by Shastra. And this dharma is not just doing any religious activities alone. Any kind of service that we do for any no human beings. In fact, very simply put, There is something called Panchamaha Yajna. I will talk about it later when the relevant topic comes. This Panchamaha Yajna, if you are doing it regularly, that are all dharmic activities only. So these things, like for example, serving or doing things which are in favor of Deva Yajna towards gods, that is doing all the rituals, pujas, and things like that, and all that praying, Deva Yajna. Then Pitri Yajna. Pitri Yajna is while they are living, taking very good care of your parents or grandparents if they are with you. And after they are gone, doing all the karmas, all the rites which the Shastra prescribes has to be done for the departed ancestors. This is all nothing but thanksgiving, isn't it? We have to be really, have to have a lot of gratitude towards our ancestors because of whom we are here. So this is another dharmic activity which you are supposed to do. If you do that, you will earn a lot of punyam. You will earn their blessings. Then the third one is Brahma Yajna. Brahma Yajna means studying the Vedas and following a lifestyle which is prescribed and which is in tune with what has been prescribed in the Vedas. That is the third one. Fourth is Bhuta Yajna. Bhuta Yajna means not only taking care of yourself, your family, and all, taking care of the entire environment, the flora, the fauna, everything. That comes under Bhuta Yajna. Simple example, it is summertime comes, there are so many birds, they will be looking for some water. All that you need to do is take a small cup water and keep it in your balcony. Some of those birds will come and drink it rather and go away. Watering the plants, Bhuta Yagyam, because plants also, who will water? There is no rain. Plants need food and they make their food through this water only. Who will water the plants? They will die otherwise. So that Bhuta Yagyam includes all these things. So many examples you can think of. Basically, reaching out activities, as Puja Swami Dayanand Saraswati says, reaching out activities need not necessarily be only towards human beings. Reaching out activities is this entire cosmos is ours. We live in this. Just like we keep our house neat and tidy and in ship, what they call ship shape for us to live, we must understand that this entire universe also is like our house. We all live in this. Unless we actually learn to coexist with all other beings in this universe, one fine day we will be also be destroyed rather. So that is Bhuta Yajna. Then last, of course, the Manusha Yajna. That we need not explain too much because it is reaching out activities again, trying to help the poor people. It can be done in so many ways like Annadanam and things like that and all. So many things. And Manusha Yajna includes everything. Even if you just pick up one small poor child and teach the child, some, her class, whatever course she is following, he or she is following, the Manusha Yajna. There is a person who is going, who is hungry, invite him, give him food, Manusha Yajna. So Manusha Yajna means all kinds of activities, going to an orphanage and feeding the children, or during Diwali, buying certain very nice things and gifting those things to those children and all that. All these things will come under Manusha Yajna, right? So This Mahayajnam itself is one of the means to earn more and more punyam. If you keep doing these activities, automatically your punyam account will go. The bank balance will keep on growing rather. So this is the third Purushartha, which is the Dharma Purushartha. And which is very important, Shastra says, because you want to come to Vedanta also, you must have had lot of punyam for you to first be born as a human being. Then only you can come to Vedanta. Animals cannot be sitting in this class. That's why I have not sent my the Zoom link to any animals. I have only sent to human beings. That to those human beings who are mumukshus, who have actually expressed a desire for learning Vedanta, isn't it? So, what the Shastra says is this Dharma Purushartha is a very, very important Purushartha. And you must keep on doing all these dharmic activities. And if you look at it, when we are looking at the Bhuta Yajna and all this environmental protection and all this, all today they are all talking about all these things. But this is embedded in our Shastra, in our scriptures. It is being actually marked as one of the human goals which a human being has to pursue. So that is the importance the scriptures, our religion, our culture gives to the entire environment. Then the last one, fourth Purushartha, is called Moksha Purushartha. In fact, just before I go into Moksha Purushartha, one more small point. These first three Purusharthas, this Artha, Kama, and Dharma, these three are bracketed together, and in Shastra they use a word prayas for these three Purusharthas. Prayas. Right? And when you come to the Moksha Purushartha, which is the fourth Purushartha, that is given a name Shreyas. So Prayas, three Purusharthas, and Moksha Purushartha is Shreyas. Shreyas means the most exalted one, the best. Shreyas. So what Shastra is saying that after you have done these three Purusharthas and all, you must have this Moksha Purushartha as your goal. You must pursue moksha. And what does that moksha pursuit mean? The moksha pursuit means, as I said, total freedom from all the bondages. Moksha is from the word mukti. Mukti means freedom. Right? And freedom from what? Freedom from this dharma, artha, kama pursuits. Because if you look at it, all these dharma, artha, kama goals that we are pursuing are responsible for our bondage in our life. These pursuits is what gives us disappointments. These pursuits is what gives us fear. These pursuits is what gives us a feeling of guilt. In fact, these pursuits are actually responsible for all the impurities in our mind. Impurities like raga, dvesha, desires, that is likes and dislikes, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, all this anger and jealousy, greed, all these things are a result of these three pursuits that we follow in our life. And moksha purushartha, so shreyas purushartha, is freedom from these three pursuits. That is what is moksha. And I don't want to elaborate because we will be seeing this moksha purushartha in detail in the text also, Tattva Bodha text also, right? But before that, let us just look at how this dharma, artha, kama enslave us. Right? Because everything, all these things, or a person or an object, can enslave us in two ways. The first way is by their absence, it can enslave us. If I don't have something which I want, there is an object of desire which I don't have because that's why the desire has come. Till I attain that object, I am agitated. I feel a vacuum in my life. There is a emptiness. Now, for example, we have seen a lot of romantic couples and all, isn't it? So there is a desire to become a partner, the two of them. But right now, parents are not accepting, or it's not a time. This all happens in college, this kind of thing. So they will say, no, 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 what? You are not even settled in your life. You are thinking of marrying and all that. So till such time, there is a vacuum. Tere bina, what is that? Some song is there, Hindi. Hindi song. Yeah. So this vacuum is there, and sometimes people feel worthless. After all, if I can't get it, what is the use of this life? So the absence of a person or an object has got the capability of enslaving us, because our entire mind will be thinking of that only. How to acquire it, how to acquire it. But at the same time, the presence of an object or a person also can be enslaving, which is very, very obvious to us, because the attachment that we are having towards our family, our spouse, or our children, our grandchildren, and all, they are all enslaving. They are enslaving rather. We become slaves. If our grandchild in the US has fallen sick, we lose our sleep here. Oh my God, what has happened to my grandchild? Isn't it? If somebody is there, your spouse has gone for some shopping and not returned, now it's going to be 6 hours, 7 hours. You are just agitated. You palpitation is there. What has happened? I don't know what has happened. It completely enslaves you, this relationship. So the presence also enslaves you, the absence also enslaves you rather. Right. So objects and people can bind me with their presence. Objects and people can bind me by their absence also rather. Similarly, money. If you have money, if you don't have money, one kind of a problem. If you have money and then lot of them, another kind of problem. You invest in stock market, suddenly you see that there's a 600 points down, 800 points down, and then enslaved. You're gone. You worry. You call up your broker. "Arey, what can I do now? I've lost so much. I thought that mutual funds will give me good investment, good returns, but mutual funds themselves are closing down now. Without telling me, they have actually completed, closed down the scheme rather. I've lost a lot of money." So all these things are all what? Presence of lot of money also is enslaving rather. Right? So poverty is a problem, prosperity is a problem, everything is a problem. And freedom from all these kind of slavery, which we actually experience every day in our day-to-day life, is what is moksha is. So what moksha means, that all these desires, all these things that we are doing or indulging, you must note, we actually are led by our mind. All these desires come, all these emotions, the seat of these emotions is our mind. So we are driven by this mind, and that is why this slavery is happening. What moksha means, gain control over all this, gain control over your mind. It does not mean suppress your mind. but manage your mind. You become the manager instead of the mind managing you. Today, the minds are managing all of us, isn't it? I like this, so I will do it. Where is this like desire coming? It is from the mind. Mind is actually a very deadly instrument. Deadly means you can use your mind very positively for great results. At the same time, if you are not careful, your mind can drive you to desperation, including suicide. That is the power of the mind. So moksha is gaining control, gaining management control over your mind. I will tell the mind what to do, what not to do. The mind is not going to dictate to me, because mind's dictation is always in the three purusharthas which we talked about: artha, kama, and dharma. I will now dictate to the mind, I want moksha purushartha, I want freedom. So I will actually determine what my life is going to be. And that is why this moksha purushartha is slated, or it is stated to be the ultimate goal, the final goal of a human being. Once you have got moksha, and mind you, please don't misunderstand moksha means, because many of our scriptures also, Puranas talk moksha as a concept, after the death only you can get. No, Vedanta doesn't accept with that at all. Moksha we can get in the human life itself. That is why it is a human goal. If moksha was not a human goal, if moksha is to be got only after a person is dead, it should be a dead body's goal. Why a human goal? So Vedanta, when you come to it, you will find out lot of things that we believe we have understood all along are all, not valid at all from a Shastra point of view, from a Veda point of view, right? So what is moksha means? Moksha means a freedom from all these things. If I have these things, I am happy. If I don't have these things also, I am happy. The presence of absence of any person, anything, any object, any situation is not going to make any difference to me. That is what is the inner freedom. And this entire Vedanta pursuit is all about analyzing how to reach that state of mind, that state of knowledge. And Vedanta says that once you have this knowledge of yourself, the knowledge of your real self, as I told you in the last class, then you can achieve this moksha, this fourth purushartha. So this is in short the Chaturvida Purushartha, the four Purusharthas. And next class we will see another topic, which as I told you, probably we will take up the topic of Moksha Purushartha. Varnashrama Dharma we will talk next class. Okay, I'll say the prayers, and if there are any questions, please ask me. Okay, 1 minute. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. You can now ask any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Raghuji.
Thank you.
I have a question. You
Yes.
said that this recording will be published only after the course is over, right? Is that what? Did I hear it right?
I think in the last class, in the question answer session, we had a discussion, brief discussion.
I know. I
agreed that I will circulate it to all. So I will be sending the
wasn't, you're right. I mean, this is very, to me, this class is reiterating what I've been taught. So I really enjoy it. You are just breaking each, which it's really, really, all this reiteration is very good for us while we are in the midst of the samsara. It is like more like a nidhyasanam for me.
Yeah. For me also, actually, it is nidhyasanam only. The more I teach, the more goes into my mind.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the reason also, see, I teach here Purna Vidya, you must have heard, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
teach,
yeah.
and I teach the higher class. We talk about Purusharthas, I just take Swami Paramathananda's notes. Now
Yeah.
I am getting some more what you have learned from him, so it's very useful to me. Yes,
Yeah,
it is
good,
very.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raghuji, and the Vishnu class is tomorrow, right? Same
Tomorrow.
time.
Tomorrow, no,
Is
not
it
same time, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m.
6
Thank you,
p.m.
Swamiji.
Yeah, 6 to 7.
Thank
You
you.
had, excuse me, you
Yeah.
had told in the beginning that we have to register our attendance. Where do we register our attendance?
See, there is a chat box. If you see in your screen, there is a chat box. Can you locate the chat box? In the panel at the bottom
Go
of
to
your...
more.
See, in the
Go to
panel...
more and plus you will get chat box.
Go to more, huh? Okay, I don't know. In my screen, chat box is the bottom.
Yeah, it says more.
No, we have got mute.
No, you got to go to more options.
You have to go to more
option, and at the
option.
top, you will see chat. Trust me, I'm not computer savvy.
You-
I found out.
Click on more. You will get a drop down box. In that you will have chat.
Yeah, chat, the top one. Do you see it? You can see it. They have like a 4 option: chat, meeting settings, minimize meeting, raise hand. So the top will be chat. That's what I found.
Could you get it? Who asked that question?
I forget his name. I don't know. He appeared, but I don't know who. He just gone.
Doesn't matter. I mean, if you are not able to figure it now, you can figure it over the next 1 week. We still have got 1 week.
So 6 p.m. IST. 6 p.m. IST.
6 p.m.
right?
IST. Yes, 6 p.m. IST.
I'm glad I asked you, because for us tomorrow the time is changing in USA. No, the time changes.
Okay. 1st November.
Yeah. 1st November. Yeah. I'll figure it out.
Anyhow, tonight I will be sending the poster announcement and the link. I will be sending, so it will be clear. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Good.
Okay.
Any other question?
I have.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is the Sanskrit name of free will?
Sanskrit name of free will.
Expression. Yeah.
Good question. Actually, the word Purushartha itself means that, it is the application of the free will.
Yeah.
But I will have to honestly look it up if there is a word for free will in Sanskrit.
Because in my other class,
and I heard
Purushartha, they translate it as...
Please, one at a time. One at a time. Two people cannot speak. And please wait for the other person to finish.
Purushartha itself is actually a human goal. And because Purushartha can be there only if there is a free will.
Okay.
So that is why Purushartha is the word used normally for free will. But if there is a separate word, I will have to find out. I have not heard it till. You are the first person asking me this question. So it's a good. I mean, it increases my curiosity. Let me find out. If it is there in next class, I will tell you.
No, I asked this question because in my other classes, Purushartha, they translate it as free will.
Yeah, but Purushartha itself cannot be translated as free will, because Purusha and Artha there is no will involved in that, right?
Okay.
Purusha Artha means it talks about a human goal.
Okay.
But how the human goal comes, it is because of free will.
Okay.
So that is how we have to understand. It's okay. I mean, as long as you get the essence of it, let us not worry too much about.
No. I just
No. Your question is valid. I mean, I will try to find out for my own knowledge if there is a word for free will in the language.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Raghuji, if I remember correct, I was listening to some speeches in Bhagavad Gita last chapter. There was something like Endrarudana, something like that, like mounted on the wheel. So somebody translated free will has something to do with that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they usually say secha, something like secha.
Swecha, yeah, Swecha also is a word. But Swecha means the one's own desire. It doesn't say free will. Because Swa Icha is Swecha. Icha means desire, right? Exactly, it is not free will, right? No, we will see that. I mean, there's not a big problem. I mean, if I find something equivalent word, I will let you know in the next class.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. 1 second. Let me try one small trick, which is taking a photo of this participants. It didn't work. 1 second. Before people leave. Then 1 second. Okay, shall we close the session then? See you next Saturday. Hari Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskar.
My deep gratitude.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.